Breaking news, President Trump just announced that he will suspend bombing on Iran for 2 weeks. This after Pakistan's prime minister is called for President Trump to extend his deadline for Iran to strike a deal, which was set for 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Now, President Trump wrote in part, this will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran. So now I want to bring in CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. Sam, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about this agreement and really where do we go from here?
Well, certainly at this point, the United States is going to be focused on negotiating with the Iranians, first through intermediaries, to quote unquote open the Strait of Hormuz. And we need to unpack a bit what that actually means. At the moment, international shipping companies and insurers are not sending tankers through the Strait of Hormuz because of concerns that Iran will hit those vessels with drones, missiles, mines, and more. So the United States, as well as private companies, need to get some level of confidence that Iran is not going to use weapons to attack the vessels that are transiting the strait. At the same time, Iran has indicated that it would charge a toll, a fee, for vessels to pass through the strait. Essentially, the United States is going to need to receive some sort of guarantee that Iran will not continue to profit off of vessels transiting through the strait through the payment of these kinds of fees. So certainly U.S. negotiators will work first through intermediaries. Pakistan, we know that China was involved at the last minute to intercede with Iran to get them to agree to this deal, to try to flesh out what opening the strait means. At the same time, the key linchpin here, of course, is the private companies. They need to be convinced that they will have safe passage, and that is a whole different set of discussions than what's happening through diplomatic channels right now.
While talks continue, there's really a holding point for our military. So what happens to our military presence in the Middle East?
We have such a massive buildup of forces in the Middle East as well as in Europe to help sustain and potentially evolve Operation Epic Fury. Certainly the Trump administration is not going to want to downgrade its footprint to support Operation Epic Fury until there's not just a ceasefire, but until there is a credible and verifiable end to this war on terms that the United States is comfortable with. As we found out, moving carrier strike groups, moving personnel over to the region just takes time. So the United States is likely to keep these assets in place until there is a credible and verifiable agreement on terms that the U.S. is comfortable with. So we should expect the U.S. force posture in the region to remain unchanged during this 2-week ceasefire.
So we understand Iran just released a statement on the ceasefire. So, Sam, what are we hearing?
We are hearing the Iranians, in their official statement, the Iranian regime claim victory and indicate that the enemy, the United States and Israel ostensibly, have been defeated. It is unsurprising that Iran is taking a victory lap at this stage. And by the same token, we should expect the United States and Israel to also claim that Iran agreed to this deal because of the pressure campaign inflicted by the U.S. and Israeli militaries. So we should probably expect all parties to continue to take these victory laps over the days and 2 weeks ahead, while negotiators work to try to flesh out the actual contours of a more lasting deal.
What signals should we be watching out for that there is de-escalation or possibly escalation in the next couple of days and in this 2-week holding period?
We should certainly look to see if the amount of tanker traffic through the strait actually increases. But again, that's going to be a private sector decision as much as it is a U.S., Iran, Israel decision. And we should also look to see whether strikes actually stop. So ceasefires tend to be broken, and all parties need to see if there are some sort of errant strikes by any of the parties involved, whether that actually breaks a ceasefire or not. And we should also see, of course, if the United States does at some juncture change its force posture to support Operation Epic Fury. But ceasefires, even when implemented with good intentions, do oftentimes have ups and downs. So all parties will, if there are any breaks in the ceasefire, all parties will have to decide whether it's irreparable or if it's something they can live with.
All right, Sam Vinograd. Sam, thank you.
Thank you.